Time. It's the one thing we never seem to have enough of. It controls when we sleep, when we eat, when we're born, and when we die. But what if I told you time isn't real? Not metaphorically. Not spiritually. I mean physically. Mathematically. Structurally. What if time is just a trick your brain plays so you don't go insane? We talk about the past. We talk about the future. But what actually is now? You're listening to this. The moment feels real. But a second ago, it also felt real. And 1 second from now, it will feel real too. But science is beginning to say something terrifying. There is no now. There is no flow. Everything might already exist. Einstein didn't believe in time the way we do. To him, time was just one dimension, like width or height. Past, present, future? All equally real. Just different coordinates in a 4D landscape. And when you move through space, you are also moving through time. So then, why do we feel like we're moving forward? Why do we remember the past but never the future? Why are we aging? Why are we so terrified of running out of time? If it was never running to begin with? In this episode of Quiet Cosmos, we're going to dive into the illusion of time. Not as a metaphor, but as a serious scientific proposal. You'll never look at a clock the same way again. Imagine a book, a novel, sitting quietly on a shelf. Inside that book are pages, and inside those pages, a story. But when you look at the book as an object, the beginning, middle, and end all exist at the same time. That's how Einstein saw the universe. He didn't believe that time flows. He believed that past, present, and future were just different slices of a whole. Like pages in a book you haven't read yet, but are already written. This idea is called the block universe. And it changes everything. If the future already exists, then free will becomes questionable. If the past still exists, then death becomes different. You didn't lose your childhood. It's still there, just on another page of the universal book. Your last kiss? Your first heartbreak? All still exist. Not in your memory, but as real events frozen in space-time. You just can't turn the page anymore. Of course, this raises questions. If everything is frozen, then why do we feel time? Why do we remember the past, but never the future? One theory? Entropy. It's the only law of physics that gives time a direction. A glass breaks. It doesn't break. Heat spreads. It doesn't gather. You age forward, never backward. But here's the twist. The laws of physics themselves? They don't care about direction. A supercomputer could simulate the universe in reverse, and the equations would still work. Meaning our sense of a past and a future isn't built into the universe. It's built into us. Your brain organizes reality by cause and effect. But that might just be a survival mechanism. Memory isn't a window into the past. It's a function to predict the future. Some scientists, like Carlo Rovelli, argue that time doesn't exist at all, not even as a dimension, that it's simply a way we measure change, and that change itself is an illusion. That makes time a sort of hallucination, a projection created by our minds to make sense of motion. And if that's true, then there's something deeply personal about time, not in the poetic sense, in the terrifying one. Because if time doesn't exist, then neither does before or after. Neither does cause or effect. Which means the story of your life was never yours to move through. It was a fixed structure, a sculpture, already complete. Let's zoom out for a second. You wake up. You eat. You work. You age. Every part of your day feels like it's unfolding in time. But if we removed your memory, if we erased your ability to track change, would time still exist? There's a theory called the now-only model. It says that only the present moment is real. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened. The only thing that exists is this breath, this heartbeat, this sentence. But then, who are you if the past isn't real? What are you becoming if the future can't happen? Your identity is a narrative, a story built from memory. Your goals are projections, guesses about what comes next. If time is an illusion, then your story might be too. This brings us to the block universe versus now-only paradox. Is time a fixed landscape or just a flashlight beam moving through darkness? Either way, it's not flowing. It's either all there or not there at all. But what if both are wrong? What if time is something we've never fully understood? Not a line, not a loop, but a network. In quantum mechanics, time behaves differently. Events don't have strict order. Cause and effect can become blurry. A particle can influence another one before it even happens. It's called retrocausality, and it breaks everything we think we know. In some experiments, decisions made in the present seem to affect outcomes in the past. Not metaphorically, literally. So if time can bend, if it can tangle, then maybe what we're calling time is just the shadow of something deeper. In ancient Greece, Heraclitus said, "You cannot step into the same river twice, because both you and the river have changed." But if time isn't real, maybe you never stepped in at all. Our perception of time might just be a side effect. Like heat is a side effect of molecules moving. Something emerges in our minds to make sense of motion. But under it all, nothing is moving. Think about music. A note means nothing in isolation, but in a sequence, with rhythm and change, it becomes a melody. Time might just be that. The illusion that turns a series of frozen moments into meaning. And maybe that's the point. Maybe we need the illusion. Maybe time is the trick that keeps us sane, that allows us to grieve, to dream, to evolve. Without time, there's no story. No before, no after, no heartbreaks, but also no healing. But here's the twist. Some physicists believe time is emergent, that it's not fundamental, that the universe doesn't need time. But we do. Because time gives us direction. It gives our lives momentum. Without it, we might still exist. But we wouldn't be human. So maybe the question isn't, is time real? Maybe it's, are we real without time? In the second half of this episode, we'll explore what happens when we try to live inside the illusion, and what it means to let it go. If you've made it this far, you're not just listening. You're feeling your way through something ancient, something invisible. The part of you that counts minutes has faded. What's left is the part that wonders. Wonder is the opposite of time. It stretches a second into forever. It turns a breath into a universe. Time tells us, this will end. Wonder says, but not yet. The mind is a story machine. It needs beginnings, middles, endings. But the universe, it doesn't seem to care. The most fundamental laws we've discovered don't include time. Gravity doesn't tick. Light doesn't wait. Think of it. A beam of light moves through space, but not through time. To a photon, everything happens at once. Time, in that view, is something that happens to us, not to nature. A shadow cast by our biology, our nervous systems, our need to survive. Because if we could see every moment, all at once, we'd go mad. So instead, we get one frame at a time, one breath, one kiss, one goodbye. And that's where it gets beautiful. Maybe the illusion is the gift. Maybe what makes us human is that we don't see the whole thing. That we stumble forward, holding on to memories, and dreams, and hope. Maybe the past and future are costumes, worn by eternity, so we can fall in love, and fall apart, and learn how to begin again. Maybe time doesn't exist, but love? Love still does. And that's enough. If everything is frozen, then the moment you first saw the ocean is still happening. The moment you said, "I'm sorry," still echoes. The moment you forgave someone who never apologized still glows. Quietly, behind your heart, you are not moving through time. You are a sculpture, carved into space-time itself, unfolding, layered, still, eternal. And when this video ends, it won't be gone. It'll still exist, on a different page of the book. And if you ever find yourself here again, it won't be the future. It'll be now. And now is forever. Forever is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It waits in silence. Not because it's hiding, but because it knows you'll come looking. There's something sacred about stillness. Not the absence of movement, but the presence of awareness. The moment you stop chasing and start listening, that's when forever speaks. It doesn't use language. It uses breath, light, memory, the quiet knowing you can't explain, but feel in your chest. We think time is about clocks, but time is about questions. What are you running toward? What are you trying to escape? Who were you before you were measured? In this stillness, you begin to hear yourself. Not your voice, not your thoughts, but the you beneath them. The you that doesn't rush, doesn't worry, doesn't regret. The you that watches the tides of your life and says, yes, let them come, let them go, because time is not your master, it's your mirror. And when you slow down long enough to look, you start to see that everything you've been chasing was never outside you. You thought love was something you'd find later, but it was always here. In the way you carry your pain, in the way you let go, in the way you remember someone, even after they've forgotten you. And maybe that's the final illusion, that time separates us, when in truth, it connects us. Every goodbye you've ever said still echoes in the hearts of those who heard it. Every laugh still ripples through someone's memory. You are not a moment. You are a constellation, a pattern of stories that someone, somewhere, is still unfolding. When you love someone, you give them part of your time. But what you're really giving them is your attention. And attention is the closest thing we have to eternity. In a world obsessed with the future, peace is rebellion. Choosing stillness is choosing to trust the moment you're in, even if it doesn't make sense. Especially when it doesn't make sense. Time wants you to chase, but peace invites you to land. You are here. You've always been here. The version of you that was 5 years old, still here. The version that was afraid, still here. The version that loved fully, even when it hurt, still here. The universe is not deleting you as you go. It is preserving you, moment by moment. Like crystal in amber, you are not passing through life. Life is passing through you. And if you're listening to this under a night sky, or while drifting to sleep, know this: the stars above you are not distant. They are echoes of light that have already touched you. Light takes time to travel, and the light you're seeing is ancient. You are bathing in the past of distant suns, but to those suns, you are their future. You are the moment their light finally became real. You are not behind schedule. You are not lost. You are arriving exactly where you were always going. And time? Time is not a prison. It's a permission slip. A permission to begin again. Right now. You don't need to start over. You already are the restart. There is no late. There is no missed chance. There is no wasted time. There is only this breath. And this one. And this one. Every second is a lifetime, if you live it fully. So take one last deep breath, not to end the moment, but to feel it. The world won't wait for you, but the universe always will. There is no final answer, just better questions. And when you look at time, not as something to measure, but something to listen to, you start to hear something soft beneath the seconds. It says, you were never meant to catch up. You were meant to be caught by wonder, by grace, by now. So don't rush. This isn't a finish line. This is a homecoming. Let the world keep spinning. Let the clocks keep ticking. You already arrived.